Look at the facts, not the feelings. These people get out of jail and they're going out to eat every day. They're flying across the country but no job. That's not realistic, sis. That's not how your life is going to be. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Joche and I am the go-to channel for all things real. So today I'm going to be answering a question that I've received a lot, and that is the show Love After Lockup and Life After Lockup realistic? I'm going to talk about the parts that I think are realistic and tie them into like you if you're watching as a person that is dating an inmate. I wanted to do this because I have content on my channel around dating an inmate. I have a whole playlist because years ago I was involved in a situation like what you'd see on Love After Lockup. To clarify, no, I did not write and go look for a pen pal, someone that was already locked up. No, I actually was in a on and off relationship with my high school sweetheart, and he became my fiance at one point. We broke up. We have a child together. We knew each other before he was locked up. So I resonated with the show because I have been in the situation. The content that I did about dating an inmate was from my experiences when I was in that situation. I haven't been in that situation in over 5 or 6 years at this point, so that content is older. However, I left it up because it is helpful to other people. And I always say, do what's best for you. Think about your future. Think about long term and not necessarily just how you feel. So, is Love After Lockup realistic? I'm going to start off by saying that it is reality TV. Although the idea of it is realistic, there are some parts that are pretty dramatized. The things that you see as far as storylines where they are talking to many people at once and kind of baiting people that are on the outside, that part is absolutely realistic, okay? And just being involved with someone that was constantly cheating, he was a bait and switcher for people, and so were some of his friends. So a lot of them would like write different women, ask different women to send them money, put money on their books, send them care packages, you know, send them money and transfer it to cards. There was an episode or a season that had Andrea and Lamar, and Andrea was talking about how her boyfriend at the time was like paying her bills from jail. That part is actually also realistic. It just depends on the caliber of the person that is locked up. So it's like the same way that you would go and put money on a card and send it somewhere and they end up getting it, is the same way that they can communicate from in there and have someone send the money to you. So that part is realistic. The part about them being able to target lonely, single, horny people that are not getting any attention on the outside, are very, very lonely and just, you know, wanting love. They're thinking that this person is about them because of what they're saying when they chat on the phone, when they write letters, when they're video chatting, when they visit. It is helping them feel like a better person. They think they're falling in love with someone, but that person could very likely be playing a game. It could be a con. They could be playing the same game with you and 5 or 10 other people. Lizzie from Love After Lockup proudly tells everyone how many tricks she had, and that is realistic. The women do it and the men do it, and that's something that you have to consider if you're going to date somebody that's locked up, okay? Is Love After Lockup realistic? Is the show itself realistic? And is getting played by somebody in prison realistic? Absolutely. I've made a video on this because it happened to me by someone that I knew, that someone that, you know, I knew before they went in there. So the whole Meg, Michael, Sarah, honey, if I would have known about Love After Lockup prior to it airing on television, your girl could have made some coin over the struggle instead of just sharing it here on YouTube. I'm just saying. It is very realistic to be in that situation. A lot of inmates get themselves in those situations because They are broken. They've been through things in their lives that have led them to a place to get them locked up in the first place. They don't have an identity of their own yet, let alone trying to love the next person. And they're finding themselves and they're trying to survive all at the same time. So to expect someone, especially if they're young, to really wrap their head around being a faithful person, being a law-abiding citizen, giving their all to you when they get out, that is unrealistic most of the time. In the series Love After Lockup, it seems like the relationships that last are the ones of those that were a little bit older and had a little bit more grounding in their lives prior to getting mixed up with whatever got them in prison in the first place. If they're older, they tend to have more of a desire to settle down, a desire to be with someone, a desire to be a family again. If they're young, they in their early 20s when they get out, they done spent 5 years, 2 years, 3 years behind bars, being told what to do, what they couldn't do. Prior to that, they were living at home with their parent. They had rules, they were breaking them, and that's how they got in there. They might not want to really be in a serious relationship when they get out. And you got to understand that before you decide to be with them. A lot of people get caught up in the idea of having someone that they're not paying attention to the reality of what it means to have them. Be clear. If you date someone that has a record and then they have been charged for something and they've had to do time and they have felonies, it is going to be hard for them to get on their feet. Y'all are not going to run off into the sunset and get married. And a lot of people on Love After Lockup seem to have this fantasy in their mind when their person gets out, that's the way it's going to go. When in reality, it's going to be 6 months to a year, if not longer, depending on the effort of the ex-felon, ex-con when they come home, finding employment and keeping employment. Staying out of trouble, meaning not running back to the drugs, the crimes, the things that got them locked up in the first place, because they're on probation, they're on parole, they have a curfew, they have a bracelet on their leg, whatever. They have different things that they have to adhere to in efforts to stay out of jail. So that's the thing that you have to keep in mind. Planning a wedding is great, but I don't recommend that you hop into a marriage like you see the people on Love After Lockup do after they've been home for 2 months or 3 months. Especially if y'all don't have any money. It's going to be your money. It's going to be like you're still taking care of them like you did when they were locked up. You're going to be frustrated because you're not getting out what you thought you'd get back in return. They may be wanting to do their own thing because they don't know. They're in a new world. Imagine being in a prison cell for however long, and you finally get to get out. You get to hear the new music. You need to try the new food. You get to see the new trends. You get to find out what Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok is. Parties, drinking, whatever that you could not do. And that's something different for them, okay? So it's just like, that's going to be a new experience. And if y'all are going to have it together, you got to understand that they're not going to be the same. You don't want them to be the same. You want them to grow. You want them to have their own individuality. And you want the things that they promised you to be true. But the reality of it is, it may not be true. So make sure that you understand that going in if you decide to wait. Personally, I would not recommend it. Personally, I would recommend online dating using some sort of app, like maybe not Tinder or, Bumble or whatever, but find an app where you can meet people the same way. You swipe left, you swipe right, it's hopscotch online, and you meet somebody like that. There are other ways where you can meet people. It's like so many other options for you out there. And I think that Love After Lockup does a good job of showing the good, the bad, and the ugly. As you can see, out of like 20 couples that have been on the show, only like 3 or 4 have actually thrived and survived. And even within those, you see the drama and the baggage that comes even with those that have survived. It's not going to be perfect. Y'all are not used to seeing each other. Y'all are not used to being under the same roof. You're not used to dealing with their attitudes, seeing what triggers them. You're only getting bits and pieces. If they're locked up, you're not talking to them all day, every day. Even if they have a cell phone, you are talking to them when you can and when they can. When y'all live together, it is different. You don't know somebody until you live with them. And even when you live with them, that's an adjustment. So I just want y'all to know, like, there are some things that you should pay attention to. I get a lot of like comments on that Bae is in prison video. That's the first video I did, and that was when I was still kind of confused, trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my child's father. We were like in a confusing spot in our relationship because I had broken up with him before he got locked up because he was cheating. So as I've said many times to people, because I get this question all the time, like, should I wait? No, you shouldn't wait for anyone that was already screwing up before they went to jail, period. Because there's no guarantee that it's going to be better. For me, it was not. I have plenty of videos about this. Everything from more cheating, going to the clinic and getting embarrassed. Like, these videos are here because those are the things that happen because I ignored red flags. And I'm here to tell you that you should not ignore the red flags. Now, if that's your husband, that's your wife, it's a little bit different. If you knew them before, that's also a little bit different. But still, think about what happened. Look at the facts, not the feelings. That's the best advice that I can give anybody in that situation. Of course, Life After Lockup has some dramatization as well. Like, these people get out of jail and they're going out to eat every day. They're flying across the country with no job. That's not realistic. Sis, that's not how your life is going to be. Like I said, it's going to be a transitionary period, and people don't want to talk about that, but that's the important part. Are you going to be okay with that transition? Are you going to be okay that your man or your woman is not going to be the person that they were before they went in there? Things happen to them while they were there. Their personality has changed. They might have some damn post-depression coming out of that situation, because that is something very impactful on a person, taking them away from people and basically not allowing them to be social and only being confined to a small space. Like, that's going to affect them. You got to consider all that stuff. You can't just think about how fine he is, how he going to put it down on you, how he said he was going to provide all these things. By what means? Now, he comes from a family with money and they're helping you already and they're going to help him and it's going to be great. He's, you know, in a situation where he can go and work for somebody as soon as he gets out. That's different. But 9 times out of 10, they get these stipulations. Hey, you're on probation. You need to get a job. You need to pay this money. You need to avoid the felons. You need to stay off drugs, no drinking. And it's really a tight line that they have to walk on. And it's stressful for them enough as it is, let alone trying to also be a perfect partner for you. And so it's just like, you got to ask yourself, like, is this situation worth it for me? Because you didn't get yourself locked up. You didn't get yourself in the situation where you should have to worry about that and yourself and your own livelihood. You could probably be better off with a clean slate with someone else that is not in that situation of being imprisoned even when they come out. I hope this video was helpful. If you want more on this topic, be sure to check out the playlist below. If you don't see what you're looking for in the playlist that I already have about this topic, be sure to put your question down below so I can shoot another video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.